Hello guys, so welcome back to another live video. So for today, we were going to build our own lifeboat Davit wiring diagram. So I'm gonna explain to you first the requirements that we need whenever we use our lifeboat Davit. So normally for our lifeboat Davit, the only thing that we need is to lower the lifeboat into the water via gravity, right? There is no electrical system involved whenever we are doing this lowering of lifeboat. So normally, every month we are doing a maintenance on this. So we need to swing out at least the lifeboat and lower it whenever it is possible. So it is a sad reality that instead of saving the lives of those, or we need to use it in saving lives, sometimes this monthly maintenance is making an accident itself. So in this particular live telecast or this live video, I am going to show you the whatever safety features that needs to be incorporated into our lifeboat wiring diagram, what we really need to put in order to prevent some accidents in happening. So we need to check and foresee that thing. No, so let's start first the requirements. So normally, if you lower the lifeboat, we don't it doesn't require any electrical no electrical system involved. So we just need to swing out the system. No, we just need to swing out the lifeboat using the manual brake. So I'll check the so for those who are not sailing yet, so this is the manual brake. No, so once you lift this one up, for sure the electrical motor brake will be released, and then the lifeboat will start to be lowered. See, this guy, our AB, is lifting this thing, and then the lifeboat will be lowered. So this is the process. So it's via gravity because of the weight of the lifeboat. Then those pulleys and those wires will be released, and then everyone is now ready to embark inside the lifeboat. So this is the monthly maintenance we normally do on board, and then we need to lower it all the way to the water. There are three ways on how to release this one, but we'll just be focusing more on how to retrieve this lifeboat back to his home position. So this is the maintenance that they are doing. So let's start first onto the requirements. So the main requirements we need is, of course, we need to have a three-phase electrical motor, since in the vessel they're mostly 440 volts. So we need to have three lines just for your own for our convenience, and for your reference. So 440 volts is the normal supply. So if it is a lifeboat, normally they will be supplied from our emergency switchboard, and then after that we should be needing one breaker, main breaker that would isolate our system. So let's say this is the F1, the fuse type breaker. So this will be the power system of our lifeboat Davit wiring diagram. And then after that is After this is we need to have a main contactor, which is also no, not this one. So this would be our main contactor. So then we will put another protection, which will be the overload relay. And then we will put our electrical motor. So if you will analyze our system that we are making, we only need to retrieve the lifeboat. So this only means we only have one direction. So we only need to have one direction. Whether it is forward or it is reverse, it doesn't matter for as long as it is retrieving. The rotation will be retrieving the lifeboat. And then after that is while we are retrieving the lifeboat, of course, we need to have a control. We need to have a simple control to operate the system so that in case of emergency, the operator will not get confused whenever we will retrieve the lifeboat. Especially for those vessels which they use the lifeboat as also the rescue boat. So normally, the remote, you will only find three buttons or two buttons to minimize the confusions. Normally, you will only have an on-off switch, emergency stop. No, it's an emergency stop. And then you will have a start button, which will retrieve our, or will the electrical motor will run to retrieve our electrical motor. So normally this is the button, or sometimes we only have even two. So the on off switch is not even there. So we only have two button, emergency stop and the start button. But while retrieving the electrical motor, we need to have also a safety system. One of them is also, of course, is the emergency stop. And then second of them would be the limit switch. That once our lifeboat is almost home, and then the electrical motor should stop from its running. This is to avoid overshooting, because once it's overshoots and then the operator did not notice that one, we might the lines, no, those cables will have tensions until such time the sheave and or the pulleys will give up until it will drop again or it will cause accident. No, the thing that we need to avoid. No, so that limit switch. Like at least 30 centimeters before it will be home into its home position, the electrical motor should stop already. Then we will use this manual handle. Normally it's like this, the manual handle, just to rotate, no, the shaft until it will be home. But of course, this manual handle sometimes cause fatal accident. When sometimes people forget to remove them from the shaft, and electrical motor used to run 1750 rpm or more, 3600 or whatever it is on its nameplate. And once this electrical motor start rotating, this one will fly, and with an extreme force that once it hit your body or your head or whichever part of your body, it will really cause really a serious accident. No, and that is why we will incorporate one piece or one missing safety which will be we need to put whenever this one is inserted into the shaft, whenever they want to retrieve or they want to rotate the shaft or of the electrical motor to secure properly our um, lifeboat, then it won't run unless this one was removed. Okay, if you will use the remote, this one will remove. At least it reduces the risk, or it reduces the chance whenever we run it electrically. Okay, so this is the setup. This is the requirements. We have all the safety system. Now we will construct our control system. Okay, so I always believe that if you will know how to make a wiring diagram, basic wiring diagram, then you will not get lost whenever you are reading the actual wiring diagram. So like for today, so we will start it like, since it is um, operated by human, so it is safer to everyone to use DC voltage. So we will use power supply that will convert this 440 supply from L1, L2, L3 into 24 volts DC. So we will use another fuse or breaker right next to this one. So good evening, Fatih. What do you suggest to our first contract as an ETO? Just study the basic fundamentals and it will help you a lot. And don't stop studying and reading all the wiring or the manuals you have on board. So far we have 9 viewers. I hope we will get more and more later on. So next would be a power supply that will convert this AC into DC, this high voltage. No? So now, normally, the ship setup for the lifeboat is that wherever the lifeboat deck is, that would be the control panel. That is the location of the control panel. But the control panel, they are usually located in its pipe ducts. The only control that you will have onto your lifeboat outside deck would be the remote control. But in the control panel, you will still need to have a source light that indicates you have a power onto your control panel. So that would be the first or the main thing that we will put, a source light. Normally, they are colored white or color yellow. So since our background is white already, we will put a yellow color and we will name it as source light. Our source. So if we will run the system, you will already have an indication saying that we have a source or power onto our system. So next would be the activation point for our KM1, the coil itself. So of course, we will be needing a start button, start switch, no? S1, and then we will just put the KM coil. We'll connect it onto the system, connect it. So if I will run it, so this itself indicates that we have a running motor and it will retract or it will it will retract our lifeboat itself until it will be secured home on its home position. But the problem of this one, the electrical motor is continuously running and there is no safety. So the first safety that we need to put is, of course, that stopping limit switch, that once it reach its not like 30 centimeters before its home position, the electrical side should stop already. So it means once this limit switch was hit, it means it will open the system, the circuit. So what we need is a normally closed limit switch. That is, once activated, it will stop our coil operation. Buwi Dui. Hi Jake. Hi sir. Good evening. Marimutu DCE. Good evening, Sir Jake. This is Marimutu from India. The video is not clear, visible. Could you please correct that? Can you change the quality of your? Can you change the quality of your? Just go to the setting of your YouTube and then go to the quality of your video, and then that might help. No. So now we need to put a normally closed limit switch. So this would be the normally closed limit switch. So this one, we will connect it just right before our coil. So the coil would be onto the KM1, before KM1. So we will connect it here. So we will put the tagging. So this is the limit switch. So this will be the value. Limit switch, which we will put limit switch for, let's say, for the boom, no, limit switch for the boom of the Davit itself. Okay, this, and then a while back I told you, right, another safety that I need to put is the safety for the manual handle. The manual handle, which we normally use whenever we are securing manually our lifeboat. And this one, whenever it is inserted onto the shaft, then there should be a limit switch that will open and close whenever we put this manual handle onto the shaft itself. So in the front view, it could be, this would be the shaft, right, where we put this itself, this side itself, where we put the handle, no, which we inserted. Then we need to put a limit switch with the handle, limit switch here, that before we can insert this handle, we need to lift up this one. And once this limit switch was lifted up, and then this one opens the circuit. So we need to put another limit switch onto this side that will open our circuit. This is also safety features that even they will press again the remote, then the electrical side will not run. So again, we just need to add up that limit switch itself into our system. So we need to delete this one, and then we need to put another normally closed limit switch right before our coil. So we will name the tagging, we'll change the tagging into limit switch manual handle. So we will just put limit switch limit switch manual handle, LSM. So this S1 would be our start button. values. So in this setup right now is that if we will now run the system, run, run, I have source light, and if I will press the start button, now the electrical motor started running. So if it is the boom, so the boom of the lifeboat Davit or the whatever the activation point reach the limit switch, which is this LSB, and it opens, it stops our uh, circuit itself. So even the start button it was pressed, but because of this limit switch, this electrical motor stops also. So that's how important the electrical motor. So let's say, for example, that the crew lowered the lifeboat all the way to the water, and now they still need to put a little tension, or they want to lifted it up, not touching the water. So they use the manual handle that I'm telling you. And this manual handle was, they forgot to remove it. No, they forget to remove it. They forget to remove it onto the shaft. So even the crew will press the stop switch, the S1. No, it won't run because this manual handle limit switch plays an important role into our circuit diagram. So this is how important it is, because this one will also rotate and fly at an enormous speed that might hit your part of your body, or worse, your head. And even you're wearing helmet, that force, sometimes 1750 revolution per minute, that is a strong force that might cause fatal accident. So that's why this manual handle limit switch is really, really important. So right now, let's say the limit switches satisfy our circuit diagram. Now we have this F2 that needs to stop the motor, right? See, the KM1 still not stopping. So we need to put a breaking point wherein once this F2 is activated, then our KM1 itself will be deactivated. All right. So the best point that we need to put it is right before the start switch. So we just need to put a normally closed F2 auxiliary contacts. So we need to cut the line, remove this one. We need to put a normally closed F2, F2 number 2. Okay. This is for the OCR, overload relay. No? OCR. And then we will rotate it. And then this would be the controlling point. Like once we run the system, motors running, we have overloading. As you can see, KM1 is deactivated because of F2 activation. So this protects our system from overloading. So this F2 is for our machinery protection. So now we need to put an indication light whenever our operator start retracting. Although this indication light will not be shown onto the remote, but onto the control panel itself. Because whenever you will have trouble, the electrician will always go to the control panel and sometimes will call you to try it and then check. The electrician will check if the run button really is lighting up, so that he will have idea if where will he start the troubleshooting. So we'll put an indication light. So the indication light should be related to the KM1 uh, main contactor itself, right? So for now, we will put an indication light. This is normally a color green light, and then which the value will be running. So this will gives you so much information, and then the relationship would be with the our KM1 contacts, right? This KM1 contact will be in relations to the running. So it means activating. So activation. So we only need to have a normally open contact coming from our KM1 auxiliary contacts. So we will connect this one to our system. Okay. And then, so this only means that this K1, we will change it tagging to KM1, terminals 13 and 14, that when we are running, so we have indication that our system is really running. Okay. So now, we need to put another protection to the electrical motor, to the machinery. And that would be like whenever we have electrical motor which are really located outside, we need to have space heater or the winding heater, right? So there's a limitation onto this SIMU relay. So those who are asking if which software I'm using, you can download it through App Store and just search for the SIMU relay, and then you'll find this software, beautiful software. So you can comment where are you from, guys, so that at least I can shout out your name and I'll have idea until where our video is reaching, although we are only having 8 viewers right now. So we need to have a winding heater, right? That winding heater will be a protection to our electrical motor. That is, whenever there is an inactivity onto our remote and our system is not running, the space heater or the winding heater should be activated. What time setting? Normally after 2 minutes or 5 minutes, depending on the makers, whatever they're putting. But normally, based on my experience, it is only 1 minute after inactivity onto the system. But for me, there's a major flaws onto that one. There's a major disadvantage onto that one, which led to the to the which led to damaging our electrical motor, one of the vessels that I have sailed with, just because of that particular wiring diagram setup or the design setup. So space heater or the winding heater, electrical motor heater, means it will only activate after there is no inactivity. So it means there is a timer involved. Inactive. So if the KM1 stopped from running at a certain time, this timer should activate, and then will supply that circuit with the voltage needed to hit the winding of our electrical motor. So we need to have a timer. Timer plays really big or important role, no? My K1LL watching from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Good evening, sir. Thank you for watching and thank you for your support. Archie Agustin, I'm using the Simu Relay software. So timer, it will only activated once there is no activity. It will only activated. So it is an on delay timer. So on delay timer, where will we put the on delay timer? We can put it right before the start switch, wherein we have your timer and whatever activating point or activating contacts that we need to put. Of course, they have relationship with the KM1. Okay, so let's make this one. So we will put, so now we're expanding our wiring. So we will put it just right before our start switch. Okay, so it means we need to have a contact that whenever KM1 is not running, then on delay timer should be activated at a certain on delay time to supply voltage or to hit the winding of our electrical motor. So we need to put a normally closed contact just right before our on delay relay or on delay timer. Okay. Our internet is so slow right now, and I'm not getting the speed I need for the broadcast. That's why it's only limited to 720p. So I'll change the value of this one into KM1 terminals 2122 connected into the system. So watch closely this KT1. We will set it into 3 seconds. Just 3 seconds. There's no point of making it 1 minute. So those bashers right there that they will comment, why did you only put 3 seconds? It should be 1 minute. Of course, during simulation, I cannot wait for 1 minute before we can activate the timer. So just for the simulation itself, we will make it as 3 seconds. Timer number 1. And watch closely the KT1 whenever. So it's activate, right? Because I'm not doing anything onto the KM1. So if I will start the system, now it's retracting, no? The lifeboat now, electrical motor is running. So KM1 is activated, KT1 is deactivated. So this KT1 is deactivated because of this braking contact. So this is okay, this is okay. So lifeboat is being retrieved. So we need to put now a circuit that will activate or will supply our heater for the electrical motor, since we already have the timer. So the first thing that we need to put is an activating supply for our system. Since KT1 will play a major role onto this one, we need to have another coil that will supply those windings. So let's say I will put another coil, which is, let's say, KM2, okay, and then I will put KT1 contacts, which once this is activated, so we will put a normally open contacts. We'll change the values, tag as KT1, okay, and then this is KM2. We will connect each other, and then we'll connect it onto the system. And now, since we have KM2, we will put a contacts that will, this is the limitations of our semi-relay. No, normally we have auto transformer like at 90 volts supply that will be supplied in each coils, or to two coils, one phase of our electrical motor. But the problem is we do not have auto transformer into this. So assuming that we have a transformer just right before this coil, this contacts, and now I will put another fuse that will separate our space heater into our system. Now I will connect it to these windings, to these lines. Okay. So right now, if I play supply, I'm not doing anything onto the S1. Now I have a winding supply of the heater onto the windings of our electrical motor. So it means if there is an inactivity onto our system, this only means that the space heater, the winding heater is working. Okay, so this is a simple setup that you might use, no? But the problem here is that whenever we press the start button, the KM or the KT1, as you can see, 321, it didn't activate. 321, it means it every time that operator start stop our electrical motor itself, then our KT1 follows. So there is a supply voltage going in, out, on, off, on, off, on, off. So this is the flaws that I have found on one of the design on one of the vessels that I have sailed with, which eventually they didn't notice it, no, and the control panel doesn't have also indication light that the space heater is running, so they didn't notice it, and then there is no heating onto our electrical motor. The ship is sailing into a cold area, so moisture went in, winding got damaged. We didn't have electrical motor then onto one of our vessel, that which we need to order an immediate requisition so that we can replace the electrical motor. So this is one of the problem. We need to put indication light that the space heater is running. Second is that we need to separate this timer whenever we press the start button. It shouldn't be depending only onto the start button itself. Okay, it will only be activated once there's inactivity, and that is once we switch off the remote itself, which is switch off the system itself. So we will put a selector switch, or let's check. which type of switch we can put right there. Okay, let's say this one, this S4. If you can see, we need to separate the system. This is space heater. Okay, we need to separate this space heater circuit onto this line so that whenever we start the system, this one will not keep on activating on, off, on, off. So it only means that we will use this S4 switch, that once we switch off the unit, then that would be the supply voltage go to the KT1 timer. And then we will put another indication light that the system, that the space heater is running. So we will cut this line. We will cut also this line. This line, we will connect. Okay. So we will use this switch. All right. So this is in off position. So I'm drinking coffee, my coffee. How are you doing, guys? I hope you're all in good condition. So I select selector switch. This one is right here. This one is right here. So we will fix this, all these things, so that we will have enough space onto the system. We will lower this. Okay. Then this one will be supplied in there. I'm sorry because we're doing it live. So correcting it really is also being done in a live. So this would be now the setup, and then we need to put an indication light saying that the space heater is running. So we will just connect. No, we will just connect an indication light. Another indication light says space heater is running, and the activation would be the KM2, of course, right? Because that would be the contact. So whenever KM2 is activated, that only means that the indication should also be activated. So normally the color of this one is color blue. No, color blue. And then the name would be space heater, or let's put heater. So now let's start. Let's try our system. Play, start, activated, activated. As you can see, the KM2 is activated. Wait, I did not change the values of the K1. I'm sorry for that one. The tag should be KM2. Okay, so play, activated. So as you can see, the KT1 is activated because of this switch. Space heater indication is there. So we have heating onto our electrical motor, right? So it means electrical motor will be protected into this condition. So now, once we use we flip the switch to start or to switch on the remote. So normally our remote will be looking like this. We'll have remote, we'll have the selector switch. This will be the off, and once it lifted, this will be on. We have should be have emergency stop, which we didn't include yet, and then the start button. Once this one is on, this S4 we will put. So this is the S4. So we'll put the emergency stop later, and the start button will be this one. Okay, so if you will try it again, so as you can notice, space heater already off. The heater was off, indication light was off. So it means we are now ready to run the electrical motor. We can retrieve now the lifeboat, and so our system is running, and we have now a healthy system. So the only thing that is missing is the emergency stop. Speaking of emergency stops, the best design for emergency stop is that those emergency stops that will activate the shunt trip coil of each MCCB. So MCCB, which stands for molded case circuit breaker. Main protection is overloading and short circuit. And then they have this shunt trip coil built with them, that once we press, and then it will activate the F1. So F1, or it will trip the F1. So once F1 is tripped, and then of course we can now so that will be the main function of the emergency stop. So normally the shunt is connected right there, and then you have the emergency stop, no, and then it will trip. So I am not onto the emergency stops which will only open the circuit. So why? Normally emergency stop, if it will only open the circuit, this design, since they are located outside, there is salt or other factors that can affect our system. So it means that once there is a salt, there is already short circuit onto, there is already connectivity on each line, contacts. So even if you press, sometimes emergency stops will not work. But if the system is normally open, so you will know already if there is a problem onto the line, if it is tripping. And then once you check the emergency stop, it means that there is this salt deposits already onto it. That's why it's tripping even if you're not pressing it, if it is abnormally open. But if it is abnormally closed, and then since you're not allowed to press emergency stops if it is not needed, then of course it affects our system. So you'll only need to put, so the best way is to short circuit the line just after F2, and then it will trip F2. That is the best emergency stops. So we will use a normally open emergency stops, and then we will connect it onto the system. And once we press this, so this would be the emergency stops. So now space heater is running. You can run the system. If we press S5, short circuit detected, F1 trip. So that is the best emergency stops. So I hope guys you learn from these videos. I hope this will serve as your basic guidelines for building your foundation in making wiring diagram, because I always believe that if you know how to make the basic wiring diagrams, then you will be able to read even those complex ones. So see you on my next videos, and please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and share our videos so that we can build a good community in our Facebook or here in our YouTube channel. So thank you very much.